Okay, cool. Can I confirm if everyone is seeing my screen?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Yes. Thank you. Okay. Hi everybody. Thanks for spending your 8 p.m. tonight. Your Monday. I hope your week is starting off well. If it's not, then I don't know, scream on a pillow or something. So hello, I'm Ashley. So I'm currently in Bohol. So I'm not based in Manila and I've never actually worked in Manila. So I don't know many of you in the community, but I'm super grateful to have the chance to say hello. So I'm a senior product manager at Plentina, which we will talk about in a bit, and just other stuff about me. So going next, actually, I have never used other go. Okay, yeah. So Plentina is a company that I work for, and we're also a financial wellness platform. So in a nutshell, we provide micro lending, foreign investment, and even credit profile building services to individuals. Right now, we're still, like very spoiler alert, we're gearing up to launch in the B2B space. So look forward to that. So that's just it. I'm in summary, I'm in fintech. So before I get into the suite of topics that we have, just a little bit more about myself in terms of my experience in product. So this is, I think, approximately my one. I've been around with Plentina as a product manager for around 1 year and a few months. So we'll talk about it later on, but I'm also the only product manager in the company. So actually, you know what? That's a good segue to the next topic. So so my industry is in finance and tech. Where Plentina is about like less than 30 employees. And our market, at least when I first started out, was in PH and Vietnam. And then I'm the first and only product manager. So I figured to start off the topic there because as we talk about this whole 90-day journey, how do you start off as a product manager? The story is always different, even though like the foundationals are the same. Like we can take whatever strategy we find, and I'll talk about, some resources that you can use yourself to start off your research work and go down that rabbit hole of designing your strategy towards your 90-day journey to succeed in your role. But despite all of that advice, we have to recognize that my story and your story will be different because each person's context is different. And I welcome you as as I continue talking. I welcome you to kind of pick a card in this slide in Miro. You can just like look for this slide in Miro and then start adding like you can drag and drop your avatar in any of these like small corners there and start sharing the context that you operate in within your space. Like if you're comfortable, it's not required naman. But I figured it's important to go through that exercise of like, okay, what's my industry? How big is my company? Because that'll give a lot of pretense to how you're going to design your strategy towards really like ruling the world with your new product management role. So just mentioning earlier, there's a lot of resources available online. You just first 90 days. Like where's Grashel? Is he here? So he's like, oh, pag 100 days lang, Ashley, para catchy. Para catchy yung title natin. Normally, it's usually a 30, 60, 90 days plan. Like we can stretch it out to 100 to kind of like include the aftermath after your official 90-day milestone. But usually when you search online about this whole like first 90 days, first 100 days of being a product manager, there are various resources already readily available. So if that's all you're looking for this talk, then you already have it in this slide. So just like hit those links in this slide for you to be able to start exploring, some checklists that are already made that will help you kind of visualize how you're going to arrange everything. So, and then there are like some extra reading material there that you can take advantage of in your free time if you ever want to. So I mentioned this again, going back to the whole context. is that just because somebody who's famous and who works in Silicon Valley says that this is how you're supposed to structure your first 90 days, doesn't mean that's how it should look like for you. Like, your journey is your own, and whatever details that you approach will heavily rely on the context that you live in. So just to share, this is mine. That's what's being showed on screen. And then that will give you context on what I've experienced as I share moving forward. So before I move along, is my speaking clear? Are we good? Or okay, cool. Okay, just wanted to double check since we're a small group anyway. So yeah, maybe I can go. Oh, I see some people editing already, and this is great. I love it. Oh, Pash is so cute. Okay. So feel free to also do the same thing as Pash is doing. Is it Pash or Dash? Pash. Okay, no Pash.
Pass.
So so it's Pash. Okay. So feel free to do what Pash is doing on the screen. Just consider it as an extra reflection exercise for you to reassess where you are in your journey. So as you do that, you can keep on doing that while I share my first 90 days. So it's very small here because I don't really want you guys to pay attention to the content itself of the slide. You can just listen to me talk. So what my first 90 days looks like in the plan looked very different from what actually happened in reality. And this is how as I was creating this slide, I was like reflecting on like how did I come up with that with the initial plan, and then what actually happened in real life as I started executing it. So I'll break these essentially, like, it's broken down into weeks across 3 months, and then I'll start in the following slides. I'll talk about essentially the themes of each group of weeks so that you'll have an idea of what to focus on. But in summary, for me, I initially, again, I come into this company as a startup, as one of their pioneering members. And I'm still, and even at the time, the only product manager present in the company. And so there was a lot of catching up for me to do, I realized, when I first joined. So the first item really on the agenda was to get access to like our test versions of our product, right? For me to be able to have accounts and to be able to poke around with the feature that already existed in our current solution. And then the concept after that, after onboarding myself on what our product actually does, it's my next idea was to attend all of the meetings. So when I say all of the meetings, I plan to attend like all of the meetings, like from partnerships to sales to marketing and engineering. I was there for the first few weeks. At least that was the plan. And after that, after I've attended all of the meetings, I plan to like skim it down, like trim it down to the meetings that is really essential for me to be able to, while I start working on establishing a workflow that would work for me. So that was essentially the flow that I initially started off with. When I first got into the roles, I was like, yes, this is the plan, this is great, like I'll follow it. So looking at what actually happened in reality on the right side column of this slide deck. So the first few weeks was fine, like it went according to plan. I did one-on-ones with people. It was fun getting to know both the organization and the product. But then I kind of got caught in that meeting limbo where because I was part of so many meetings, and admittedly, I was the only person who was well-versed in both business and, well, not really well-versed, but who has experience in both business and tech. I found myself being continually roped into more and more meetings that I didn't plan to be a part of anymore. So it kind of started spiraling down from there. So you notice in week 4 in the second column to the right, like I'm still in meetings. It feels like I need to be in all of them. And then succeeding weeks became like it was a struggle between providing value and advice and insight to the business side of the company, and also actually contributing alongside the engineering team about, like, say, the features and the direction that we were taking the product. And then from week 8 onwards, it just became like that Elmo. I don't know. Can I play that GIF? No, no. But you know that GIF, like the Elmo on fire GIF, because suddenly my scope expanded not only from the Philippines but also Vietnam. Considering that I'm the only PM in the company. So why do I share this, right? So this experience did humble me in the sense that I thought I knew what I was doing, but in actuality, it's really hard to stick to it. And if I were to look back and talk about that experience, it's really the whole discipline bit that will really kind of make it a harder thing to execute as you not only plan out your journey, but actually also stick to it. So just peeking at everyone. Oh, it's so nice to see everyone's context. Nice, cute. So there's this other slide as well, sharing your first 90 days. So I'm assuming that not everyone here is a new PM, or not everyone here is wanting to transition into PM. And some of you are actually already product managers or managers to some degree, and may also have had this similar first 90 days, first 30 days, first 60 days planning experience as you joined your roles. So after you're adding your context in these cards, feel free to also share any of your experiences if you did encounter any of these like exercises of, oh, I'm gonna strategize and then this is actually what happened to me in real life, just so that we can kind of share in the embarrassment of of thinking we know what we're doing, but actually, like reality has a really good way of like punching you in the face. So but again, no pressure. You don't have to share experiences here. It's just an option for you to do so as I continue talking. So now that I talk about like my context, I finished talking about my context and the humbling experience I went through when I first designed my first 90 days. Here are the generals that I did follow as I was planning it. So the first one is the pre-work is just as important as the actual work. So the goal for you within the first 30 days is really to just like learn about not only the organization, but the context that you operate in. So let's say, what are their expectations, or what are their expectations from you as a product manager? What do they, well, aside from expectation is also like, what's the power play happening within the organization that allows you to be able to move around in your job? Aside from that, like what metrics do they find important, and what points of friction has the business already identified that you can first start providing value in as like a low-hanging fruit. So learning in the first 30 days, sometimes you might not be able to contribute first, and that's completely okay. Like getting into conversations, involving yourself into brainstorming sessions, like that as a goal in the first 30 days would already build so much context for you on what you're actually working on. And plus, that's even your chance to build credibility, showing your team that you're eager to learn and wanting to hear from different people across the organization. So next is similar to what I just mentioned, always aim to build credibility as early as day one. So this can be being proactive again in doing one-on-ones, especially if you don't really have, if you go back to a few slides, I had the fortunate situation of being already kind of acquainted with one of our executives. So it was quite easy for me to reach out and schedule one-on-ones with them to be able to learn more about my position and what was expected of me, and the product that I was supposed to manage. But if you don't have the benefit of that already established relationship, then being proactive about wanting to form that relationship in the first place is already something that people will recognize. And especially if you have a team that directly reports to you, showing them that you care genuinely, not just in the not only in the professional level, but also in the personal level, will really help you get through tougher times and help them be honest with you when issues arise. The third item is really make sure you establish your own feedback loop. And this is not just for like customer feedback. It also means workflow feedback, like within the team, stakeholder feedback within the people that are above you in the organization. Like make sure that there is, like, as you continue on in your journey, you've kind of identified where and how people can communicate with you. And especially if take note of what the dynamic within the company is. Are you online? Are you offline? What would be the best way to approach you given that pre-existing company culture that you live in? And lastly, aim to make multiple small contributions as you approach your 90 days. So as you near your like 80th day mark, make it a goal for yourself to say help with backlog grooming, or maybe even if you're a associate or junior PM and then there's a senior PM alongside you, maybe work with them to help you lead the next sprint planning, for example, if that's how your organization works. Try to be, even if it's not something as big as I show to you my product roadmap, or even if it's not something as big as like, yes, we ship this feature and it's giving us like times X revenue. You don't have to put that much pressure on yourself when you reach your 80th to 90th day mark. Just small contributions will be enough. Like you help unblock engineers if they're ever stuck with any tasks. You're able to help your pre-existing PMs, do backlog grooming, or even providing insights to for example, the business development team whenever they have to. If you're, for example, doing like a B2B business, then when they close a sale, like you're there to provide technical feedback, considering your knowledge about the product that you already have. So just those small contributions will be more than enough to be able to let the organization recognize you. And it will help you empower yourself to make more decisions as you continue moving forward. So I know that we're a small group right now, less than 20. Are there any like questions or insights or comments that you would like to add in with like what was mentioned already before? I recognize I just kind of jumped into the topic. So if there was any reactions or feedback or specific things that you would like to learn as you whatever, listen to me, or if not, if there are any burning questions, you can bring them up now while we're even in the middle of this while I'm still talking, so maybe I can address them as we move forward. In the meantime, I'm just gonna stop people's context here. Okay. Very nice. I'm stopping people's context. Cool. Awesome. Okay, nice. Okay, I take that as a sign that nobody has any burning questions, so I'll continue on. Okay. All right. So with the Elmo on Fire experience that I had when I first designed my 90-day strategy, the succeeding slides are now things that I wish I took a little bit more seriously as I was actually implementing my strategy and the plan that I established early on. So so these are some screenshots of the Miro board that I initially worked with when I started planning my 90-day strategy. So I started in the company sometime September last year. And then these were kind of like the pain points and whatnot that I identified. But there were mainly two key questions that I wanted to answer as I developed the plan. So for this month, what do I understand the business objective is? And then what's the key result that I would like to achieve at my level within my capacity for that month? So aside from using those questions as guide questions, as I approached, as I kind of gained more insight within the company in my first 30 days, I should have also, if I were to step back and recall what I could have done better, I should have understood what I wanted to get out of the experience first. And not just what I focus on, what I wanted to give the organization or to the product. So the sticky notes in red are just like, me sharing what I thought at the time was what I wanted to get out of the experience. And the reason why I now find that important, it's because it eventually down the line things will get hard, and you have to understand that, right, like not only am I doing this action for the organization because that's what's good for the organization, but also because it's the learning opportunity that I wanted to take from this experience. So just kind of giving yourself this like grounding tool to look back to kind of reflect on as things continue on down the line. It helps remind you like, oh, why did I start in the first place? So kind of identifying what it is that I actually wanted out of the experience was something that I failed to do when I first started out plotting the strategy. So that's why it was a bit harder for me to stick to it once the going got tough. The next one is to actually be able to, I think I added it here, right? So it's like, it's for me to be able to actually look back on the artifacts that I generated when I was still in the planning phase. Like sometimes I forgot to revisit what I already came up with. And then I failed to track the progress that I've made across the months. Because as with anything in product development, nothing is really set in stone. So if you had this regular cadence of checking what notes you already took beforehand and seeing how nodes have moved throughout time and throughout the areas that you've gained more context in within as you work within the organization, that'll actually help you be more flexible with your plan and know where to assert dominance, if you will, within the organization, and kind of prove a point to certain efforts once you've found that kind of shift in once you've started noticing that shift in, say, priority or that shift in focus, both by the business and even your engineering team. So the next one would be take the time to review my plan every week. So similar to updating your actual notes in your artifacts, like stepping away from the grind of the transition from week 1 to week 2, from week 3 to 4, then 5 to 8, actually taking the proactive time to set aside like maybe like a Saturday to review, okay, how did I do in practice versus my strategy? Like what went well, what didn't go so well, like how can it be better? And I found myself falling into the trap of just reacting. So again, my context was I was the only product manager at the time in the company. And there were a lot of, I was the only product manager, and there were already a lot of product explorations that were happening even outside of the product that I was supposed to manage that they're expecting me to contribute to. So there was a lot of reacting on my part. And I imagine in a fast-paced environment, like a startup, for example, if you're in one, it would be very easy to kind of forget that you actually had a plan in the first place, and all you're doing is like taking out fires as fast as possible, because that's kind of how you think you'll be useful to the organization. But in reality, simply reacting and not asking questions like, wait a minute, why are we doing this? That awareness actually is more valuable than just taking out that fire. So that's kind of like the trap that we have to be aware of as we continue on, especially in our first 90 days. And then the last one is share with someone the milestones you aim to reach. So I say this in the context of having like a work buddy. I'll mention it as well in the next slide, but having somebody within the organization that knows your situation, knows the expectations that are set upon you and the goals that you're aiming to achieve, will actually help you stay on track, because somebody's like, wait, why are you doing that? You said you would do this. By this time, why didn't you finish that? Why are you still stuck there? So having somebody kind of work with you as you continue your first 90-day exploration, first 100-day exploration, will really help you fall back into line and continue on the strategy that you initially planned to do for yourself. So similarly, product communities that have worked for me, so it just kind of happened that I've already signed up to, at the time when I first joined, I was signed up to, say, cohort-based programs. So these were kind of the programs that I was already a part of while I was going through my first 90 days. So having external groups of people to share experiences with, and then fortunately you're here in Product PH, that's also another example of a good product community. Having people external from your organization to help check on you and provide like an external perspective on how you're doing, can you be better given the industry standard, and how you can improve. It really helps, add that unique perspective that you normally wouldn't have if you're alone in your own silo. But again, I add in that like whole light bulb bullet point. I should have formed my own community of, I would say, accountability partners within the company, because it's so very different to have somebody who is sharing your environment with you and helping you stay on track. So external communities are great for you to be able to benchmark yourself against the industry standard, but really being able to go hands-on with you and check your progress as you proceed on your 90 days. Like that small community of maybe 1 or 2 people within your company is already something that I feel would have made a great impact in my first 90 days. So the last one, this is a picture of Plantina and the entire company during Halloween last year. Like, don't be too hard on yourself. Like, you feel like, oh my God, first 90 days. By then, I have to have had, like, deploy the feature, had great credibility amongst the engineering team. The whole, like, the whole top management must love me. They'll never fire me by the end of 90 days. Sometimes there are those expectations that we put on ourselves that makes the whole process more stressful than it needs to be. So take it easy on yourself. And you can also feel free to rely on other people, even though they're not necessarily in product in your company, to be able to give you the guidance that you need moving forward. So roughly, that's my lightning talk. Abel, Yana. Before I go into like the plugs there in the succeeding slides, do you have any guidance on what the participants should do next, or what I should do next to help facilitate?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just to remind everyone, I actually forgot to share it a while ago, but let me just pull the share screen. You can share your questions or post your questions here. If you can see, or your insights that there. Can you see? Yeah. So you can add your questions on the board if ever you don't get time to answer it during the breakout sessions. Ashley can probably go back and answer it, or you can even bring that up during the breakout session. You can even share your insights also, just to share with people what you realized from Ashley's talk. Yeah, but that's basically it. I think you can do the plugs, Ashley.
Just one plug. No, I think you can share now. Well, it's fine. I think you can continue sharing. It's just one screen. So if you ever wanna bust your product development chops alongside the different group of people that are not your coworkers, there is a startup weekend happening in February 10 to 12. So it's an event happening in Manila. I think it's at the Kickstart office, which is the venue. It's a face-to-face event. So it's a 3-day event where you take an idea that you pitch on Friday night, and then you develop it to a point where on Sunday night you have an initial version of a business model and the prototype of that idea. So it's not quite it's a hackathon in the sense that you have to have a working product by the end of it, but it's different from a hackathon in the sense that you should have also done the business development work needed. Well, rather not the business development work, but more towards developing the business model, validating it, and going through that process before actually creating the prototype of whatever it is that you need to build. So the theme here is tech for good. So I believe the themes are like education, sustainability. Like there are various tiers that you can participate in. But that's my plug. Like Techstar Startup Weekend happening February 10th to 12 next year. Join if you wanna spend a weekend being nerdy with other nerds because I definitely enjoy doing that.
Are you gonna be there, Ashley? You
I
flying
hope
in?
so. Actually, I hope so. I'm planning to go, but hopefully things go well. That I can go, but that's kind of that's the idea. I'll be there hopefully.
All right. Hope they can find you there then.
Yeah. Say
So
hi.
yeah, there.
Yeah, that's me.
So yeah, that's you. And where can they find you if they want to connect with you?
Yeah, so that's my email right there in like light blue there. So me at ashleyway.com to send to say hello. I'm also just Ashley Uy on Facebook. Maybe choose the one with like a more a non-hooker looking profile picture. That's me. Because like when I search my name on Facebook, some it just so happens like hookers kind of show up. So I'm like I'm like no, please. So yeah, those are two ways. I'm also on LinkedIn, but I think easiest just send me an email and I'll say hi.
All right, cool. Thanks, Ashley. So yeah, I think what I got from the session or from your talk was it involves a lot of people skills, right? Building
Yeah,
the
surprisingly, no.
credibility and like doing one-on-ones and stuff like that. So yeah, you can't be a PM if you don't like people, I guess.
Yeah, it's so yeah, it's kind of like the hard truth. So my background before being a PM was I was an engineering project manager. So I really like working with engineering teams and just being able to create products as the requirements arrive. But it's totally different if you're the product manager where you have to be the one to define the requirements yourself, depending on like the business needs, what your customer needs, whatever stakeholder needs, you have to take into account. So like approaching that reality with open arms is the first step of being a product manager.
All right. Okay, thanks, Ashley. All right, so I'll just continue with the program. Before we move on to the breakout rooms again, guys, you can paste your questions and insights on the Miro board and you can share them with your breakout rooms later, or we can go back to them later if ever you run out of time. All right, so that said, let me go. Now the next part of the program would be another breakout rooms. So we'll divide you guys into groups of 5, and you can just discuss the questions that you have, or you can use the guide questions that Cham prepared for us. So you can just pick up any questions from here or on the board. All right. So I'll give you around 20 minutes to do the sharing. You can even take some turns to introduce, like just to get to know people. All right. Cool. So, yep, there. Let me prepare the breakout room. Stop my share. There. Yep. Can you guys see the invite? Cool. All right. So please join and share some stuff. Okay, Anna.
Breakout room. Which one? Which one? Which one? 3. Okay. All right. I will go to the second one.
Cool. I'll just be here if in case someone comes in. Hi, Gino. Hello. Hello, welcome back. Is everyone back? All right. I think we're back. Okay, cool. Let me share my screen. All right. So next would like to ask you guys to share a bit of what you talked about from your breakout rooms. So it's just a short 1 minute sharing what you talked about, what you learned. Oops, what happened? Sorry. If you can see my screen. Yep. I'll pick out people from each breakout room and just I know I'll just do it like choose. I'll just choose. I won't ask for volunteers, so people would go. But if you don't get to share or you want to share your questions that you discussed and insights, you can share it on the board again. Just a reminder. All right. So let me choose from the first breakout room. Iman, is Iman still here? Yep, Iman. Hi.
So,
Can you share what you talked about in your breakout room? Just quickly, I'll give you a minute.
right. So we primarily use the guide questions to lead their discussions, and most people were talking right about their key takeaways, their learnings, when they first started as a product manager or in their product role. So there were a variety of lessons, right, that uh, people shared, right, engaging with stakeholders, balancing priorities, balancing needs, right, being able to show that leadership and so on. So it's really about, how do you put this? Showcasing, right, or being or wearing that PM hat, that product hat, right? And as you grow or go along that role, you'll encounter different challenges and lessons that will definitely put you into a trial by fire, right? But you'll definitely, learn how to navigate that along the way. And just want to share to Ashley, right? Thank you for the talk. Personal insight from me. Since coming from as a product manager in a large company, right, in PNG with over 10,000 employees, it's really interesting to see how a product manager from, in a startup like kind of scenario would start in the first 90 days versus how we here would do our first 90 days, our first 100 days in this case.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that, Iman. Next, can we have Vanessa quickly share a bit about what you talked about? Are you here, Vanessa Raimundo?
Hello. Yep.
Hi.
So I'm here. So we talk about the guide questions actually more on the credibility plus the tools that on how we could manage the PM plan. And then I've learned that it's it varies from company to company, I believe. Because especially with the ways of working we have with our teams, it's more on actually I wanted to delve more with the topics that we've had, but yeah, it basically revolved around how we could build our credibility, best practices from each of the people there, and then yeah, that's all.
All right. Thanks, Vanessa. Thanks for sharing. Next, CJ Mac. Is he still here? CJ? Yep, you're still here. Can you hear us?
CJ's in a meeting. Multitasking.
Okay.
Just like all PMs.
How about Ken?
Hello, can you hear
Hi,
me?
Ken. Yep.
Yeah, actually, one of the interesting topic that we discuss is the question, is there any technical knowledge that you think is necessary to learn on your first 90 days? So yeah, for the technical knowledge, we discussed that you should learn that some of the technical jargons used in in the system, as well as like the acronyms that the devs or the technical team is using. So you can come into the point that the PO or the business side can understand what the technical team mean by something. Like, para meron kayong meeting point to understand when you're trying to solve something, like para hindi kayo maligaw, something like that. So you're doing you're gonna learn some of the technical knowledge, like some of the technical jargons they used. Like, for example, they ask something on a technical perspective, the PO somehow, or even a little bit, it's okay for them to ask the devs or the technical team what they're meant, or it's okay to ask something that they don't understand, because of course, as PO, as PMs, most of the knowledge some differs each from each PO. Some of them are technical, some are not. So for them to be able to give a certain answer to a question of dev, they should have a meeting point, like they know the context or the questions that the devs are trying to ask, something like that, so that when they provide solutions, you're on the same page, so you can provide something like that. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds like you're almost a translator, right? Between tech and business.
Yeah.
So I hope it's not like an anger translator if people here know of Key and Peele. Yeah. All right. Thanks for sharing, guys. If you have any other questions or insights that you'd like to share, please put them on the board. We'll make sure to use those stuff for further topics for our sessions in the future, right? So we can make these types of events more relevant for you, right? All right. So that being said, we're almost at the end of this session already. Just a reminder, if you want to keep up to be updated with the events or some content, well, hopefully content from Product PH, you can follow us on Facebook, as you can see here on my screen. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn. So, all right, that's and one last thing. Sorry, is hopefully you can help us improve by giving us feedback about the event. We'd like to ask you to scan the QR code, or if the other organizers could share the link on the chat. Just send us, or just give us some feedback about the event. How did it go? Right. So, is it okay if I ask you guys to like fill it out now for like 2 minutes? Also, you can find the call for speakers there. Oops, what happened?
Oh, I don't know what the link is to the feedback form, so I think I would need product page organizers to help.
Yep. Yeah, now can you send the
Wait.
The link to the Google form, Yana?
Yep.
It should be on the right up.
Right. I remember
okay.
you.
There's an icon.
There it is.
Thank you.
Yep.
There is a
Here,
link.
there.
Mm-mm.
All right, here you can click this and it will bring you straight to the form. You can also sign up to be a speaker here in this form if you want to share your expertise or your knowledge or your experience with the rest of the community. So I'll give you 2 minutes before we take a picture and close the event. So, yep. So just hop on there and let me just go back to the slides. All right, cool. So if you signed up there, as a speaker, we'll make sure to coordinate with you. So for the next event, we're gonna have another session before the holiday madness, probably. So we'd keep you updated through the Facebook and other social media channels. So please make sure to follow us there. All right. That said, I think we're pretty much good. And before we go, I'd like to take a picture. So if you guys could turn on your cameras for just a few seconds and show us your beautiful smiles. So just because we need some evidence, right? Cool. Great. All right. So let me take a screenshot. It's just one screenshot anyway. All right, guys. 5 seconds to give you a chance to turn on your camera. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Smile. Smile. All right, cool. Thanks. With that done, I'd like to thank everyone again in behalf of the Product PH team, Yana, Grassel, Keith, Cham. I'd like to thank you for joining us again. And thanks, Ashley, for the wonderful talk. We hope to see everyone back again soon. And we hope you have a good night. All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Bye bye.